Hi friends, welcome to Programming Made Easy. This is Santosh Avalamurthy. Welcome to the third session on Python programming. In the first session, we saw introduction to Python. In the last session, we saw about the variables, how to write the comments, etc. And today, in the very important session, we are going to learn about operators, conditions, and loops, which are must for the beginner. If you want to write any software program using Python, you must know about these things. Without these basics, will not be able to write any useful programs. So let's get started. If you are not subscribed to my channel, do subscribe to the channel so that you get a notification on all my videos as and when I publish them. So what are operators? So operators are used to perform operations on variables and values. Now variable, we understood what and variable in the last session. If you have not seen that, so go to the video. The description is given, the link is given in the description. So go to the video and watch it. So there are multiple types of operators. So basically operators are used to perform operation on the variables and values. Now variables means they're the names, right? Like for example, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, or fruits, vegetables. You can give anything variable name, right? And values are like the numbers or direct strings, like for example, 5. So X plus 5. So 5 is a value. Okay. Now X equal to Y plus 5. So in this case, X is a variable, Y is a variable, 5 is a value, and plus and equal to, they are the operators. Okay. So there are different types of operators available in Python. So they are, one is arithmetic operator, then we have assignment operators, comparison operators, logical operators, identity operators, membership operators, and bitwise operators. So we shall be seeing all these operators one after the other. If you know any programming language, you will be able to understand these operators very easily. But nevertheless, it is very important to know what are the operators provided by Python. Is there any operators which are new to Python and not available in other programming languages? So most of these operators are available in any other programming language. So if you are familiar with any programming language, this section will not be hard for you to understand. So these are the arithmetic operators provided by Python. So addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, exponentiation, and floor division. Now for some of you don't know what is modulus operator. So modulus operator, what it does, it basically gives the remainder of a particular of the two variables. For example, if you have 5, x is 5 and y is 2. So 5 modulus of 2 is 1. Okay, so that is what modulus is about. Exponentiation is basically the power. Now suppose x is 2, y is 3, then x double star y is nothing but 2 to the power of 3, that will be 8. And this is a new operator that we are seeing here, that is called floor division. Now normally when you divide, like for example 5 by 2, so the answer is 2.5. But when you want the integer output of the division, then we can use this floor operator, x double slash y. So what it will do, it will bring down to the nearest integer value. Okay, for example, if it is x is 15, and y is 2, so it is 15 by 2, that it will returns as 7, not 7.5. So this is a new operator in Python. So these are the comparison operators. So when you want to compare two values, okay, then we will be using these operators. So these are all pretty much same when you talk about any programming language, like equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, and then less than or equal to. Now logical operators. So these are and, or, not. Again, these are pretty common in any programming language. Now, and operator when you want to use. So when you want to check if both the statements are true, then we have to use and. Okay. Now, for example, x less than 5 and x less than 10. If both statements are true, it returns true. If any one is false, it returns false. Now, our statement, it returns true if one of the statements is true. So same if you take condition x less than 5 or x less than 4. Now either x, whether x less than 5 condition meets or x less than 4 condition meets, the output will be true. So not is basically the reverse of the result. So if your statement returns true, not of that will be false. If the statement returns false, not of that will be true. So when you want to reverse the result, then we have to use not. Now identity operators. So these are not available in all the programming languages, but they are available in Python. So basically identity operators, they are used to compare the objects. Okay. So comparing means is not with respect to the value, but whether they are of the same object, whether they are the copy of the same object or not, that is what the identity operator will be used for. So this is done using the operators is or is not. So is returns true if both variables are of the same object. It returns true if both variables are not the same object. Is not. Okay. So then membership operators. So membership operators are used to test if a sequence is present in an object. Okay. Now, for example, so these two operators are used in, not in. So in returns true if a sequence with a specified value is present in the object. Not in returns true if a sequence with a specified value is not present in the object. Now, when this will be particularly useful? Now, for example, you have a list. Let's say you have a list of students. Now you get a new student name. Okay, new student name is entered. So you want to check whether that student is already present in your existing list of students or not. That is when in operator can be used. Let me tell you another example. Now let's say you have a dictionary with the keys. Assume these keys are nothing but the register numbers or registration numbers of the students. Now again, a student ID is given and you want to check whether that student is already registered or not, or is that a valid registration ID or not. So how do you check? By using in operator. So it's very easy to check if a particular value is present in your sequence or not, in an object or not. So that is using in operator. Now these are the bitwise operators and, or, XOR, not, zero, fill left shift. Basically it shifts the bits to the left, and double greater than will shift the bits to the right. Now what bitwise operator basically AND means, suppose you have two bits, one is 0, another one is 1. Now AND 0 and 1 is 0 because only when both the bits are 1 it returns 1. But in case of OR, if any one bit is 1, the output will also be 1. 0 and or 1 is 1. 1 or 0 is 1. Okay. When you talk about NOT, it inverts all the bits. That means zeros will become 1 and ones will become zeros. So if you talk about XOR, what will happen here if only one of the two bits is 1, then it will set as 1. Now what is the difference between OR and XOR? So there is no need to confuse here. When you say OR, either one of the bits or both the bits are 1, the output will be 1. But for XOR, one of the two bits only should be 1. If both are 0 or both are 1, then it returns 0. So that is the difference between OR and XOR. Now these are all the various assignment operators. So equal to, plus equal to, minus equal to. Now what this plus equal to means? X plus equal to 3, that means x equal to x plus 3. So assignment operator is nothing but it assigns the value on the right side to the variable on the left side. That is the assignment operator. Now this plus equal to minus equal to, these are called as unary operator. Basically you are combining two operators to a single operator. Now as I told, x plus equal to 3, it is same as x equal to x plus 3. Now equal to plus, two different operators combined to plus equal to. So this is the assignment operators. So these operators are there for most of the other operators we saw, like arithmetic operators or your logical operators. We do have these kind of unary operators. Now before going to the conditional statement, let us examine the code of these particular operators. Okay. Now here, this is the code which we are observing here. So let me clear the output here. So first, so x is 15, y is 4. This is the floor operator. Let's see what is the output of this. So it is 3. So 15 by 4, the integer, the lowest integer value nearest, it will basically roll down the value. It will not round to the next higher value. It rounds to the lower value. So 15 by 4 is 3. Now if you remove this one slash, now what output we get? I need to save it. 3.75. So that is the difference between normal division operator and the floor division operator. Now let's see, this is one of my conditional statement, x print x greater than 20. Now here what will happen when I say x greater than 20, now x value is 15. Is 15 greater than 20? No. So what we will get is basically the false value. Okay. Now this is an AND operator. So let's see what is the output of this. Now what we are printing here, print x greater than 10 and y less than 5. So this is one statement, x greater than 10. Now is x greater than 10, 15 greater than 10, true. Now second statement, y less than 5, y is 4, is 5, 4 less than 5, true. Now both true, so the output will be true. See, now suppose if I make it as greater than 5, is y greater than 5? No. So the output will be false. Okay. Now let's see the next operator here. This is to check is whether the objects are same or not. So now here we have defined totally three objects A, B and C. A is apple, banana, orange. B is also assigned with the same values. Remember, is operator is not used to check if the values are same, but it is used to check if the objects are same or not. Now what we have done here, we are assigning A to C. That means the same object A is assigned to object C. Now we will see what is the output. So we are printing whether C is A and whether C is B. So now let's see what is the output. Now here true, that means C is A is true because C is assigned with A. So that condition is true. Whereas C is B is false because C is not assigned with the object B. So even though the values are same, so this indicates different results. Now, second next operator in. So as we discussed, so in is used to check if a particular sequence is present in the object or not. Now we are using the same object A here. So object A is having apple, banana and orange. Now I want to check if apple is part of the list or not. So how do I do that? It's a one single statement. All you have to do is check if apple is in A or not. Let's see that. Yes, it is true. So apple is in the list A. Now let's say I want to check if strawberry strawberry is in the list or not. I want to check. Now if you see the output, this will be false because strawberry is not part of the list A. So it's so simple in Python. You can just, you don't have to loop anything. You don't have to go through a big loop or write a separate function to check. It is just a single statement to check if the particular value is part of your object or not. So that's so simple Python is all about. Now lastly, what we'll be seeing is the assignment operator. So plus equal to, so initially x is assigned with 15. Now I'm doing x plus equal to 5. That means add 5 to the existing value of x and assign it back to variable x. Now let's see the output. So 15 plus 5 is 20. So we got output as 20. Right? So these are all about all the various operators that are present in Python. Now let's get back to the PPT here. Next, what we are seeing is the conditional statements. So these are very, very important. See, these operators, variables, then the loops, these are the minimum knowledge we should have to write any useful program in Python. So even though you may feel you know all these things, if you are new to Python, I would strongly recommend to go through the video fully to understand these basics, because whatever the advanced programs that we are going to write is based on these basic information. If you have not seen the previous two videos, do go through the videos to understand about the variables, how to write the comments, etc. Right? Now, next is if else statements. So again, this is not new to anyone who understands any programming language, or anyone who has done any bit of programming. But believe me, there are few things which are only unique to Python, and you should understand it, then only you will be able to use these conditional statements, or even for the loops for that matter. Okay. Now, if else conditions uses the logical conditions or the logical operators that we discussed to evaluate a particular expression or set of expression, and based on the output of that, then you will be able to execute a set of statements. So Python relies on indentation to define the scope in the code. This is very new and very unique to Python. Now, normally any programming language you see, C, C++, or C Sharp, Java, anywhere. So how do we define the scope? By using flower brackets or curly brackets. But in Python, we are not using any brackets. Instead, we are using white space to define the scope of your particular loop, or even your conditional statements. Now, indentation can be of any spaces, but it should be same within the block. You can give one space, two space, five space, 10 space, but once you give five space, that should remain same for that particular block. So you cannot have one at 5 white space, then next statement at 3 or 6, it will give you the error. It has to be, all should be aligned at the same location. Means same spacing should be given for all the statements within the block. So this is very unique to Python. So here we have if statement, elif. Elif is same as else if that we use any other in any other programming language. So here we call as elif, then else, and then nested if. Nested if nothing but having if conditions within if conditions. So that is what the nested if condition is all about. Now, before we get into while loop, let's see if conditions in operation. Okay. Now let me move this till my loop begins. Now here, if you see what we are writing, if x greater than y. Now, as we told, basically these if conditions, they rely on the logical operations. So they need a condition to be evaluated based on true or false. The set of statements will be executed. Now, if x greater than y. Now, what is the value of x? X is 20. Is 20 greater than y? Y value is 4. Yes, it is true. X is greater than y. Then print x. So we are printing the value of x. Now else, if x is, this condition fails, then you print the value of y. Right? Now here I have just written one statement. You can write any number of statements. Now suppose if I try to print a statement at a different indentation, this is wrong indentation. Okay. Now if I try to run, I'll get an error. Indentation error, unexpected intent. Now, if I move it to the same line, then it says this is correct indentation. The program will run, otherwise it will not run. So this is, you have to keep in mind, okay, whenever it is basically, you see there is no brackets used for these if conditions. Okay, so let me comment out this. So this is a very basic if else condition. Now here what I'm doing, I'm assigning x and y with value 10. Now we are using if elif else block. Now if x greater than y, then it prints x is greater than y. Now else if, elif is same as else if x equal to y, else if x equal to y, it prints x equal to y. Else if these two conditions are failed, then it goes to else statement, and this is where it prints x is less than y. Now if you print this, or if you run this program, what we get is x equal to y, because both are assigned with the same value. Now let me change the value x plus equal to 1. Now x became 11. Now what is the output that we get? We should get x is greater than y. True? Okay. Now let's go to while loop. Okay. So what is a while loop? While loop helps to execute a set of statements as long as a condition is true. Again, while loop is not new to anybody if you are having any knowledge of programming. So you have a condition, till the condition becomes true, you are going to run a set of statements. With the break statement, we can stop the loop even if the while condition is not true. So now whenever you want to break the statement in between, then we need to use break statement. Now if you want to continue with the loop in between, you have a condition, and if that condition meets and again you don't want to execute the remaining statement, you want to again go back to the start of loop, then that is when we have to use continue statement. Okay. Now let's see while loop in action. Okay, you save. So again, either while loop or for loop or if else, the rule is same. It is all based on indentation. Now we have assigned variable I with 1. So my condition here, I've given the condition while I less than 6. So while I less than 6, the loop has to execute. So I'm printing the value of I here. Now if I less than 4, so then we want to continue the loop till I less than 4. Okay. Remember, whenever you are using while loop, and basically it is used when you have the numbers, you want to execute the loop for a specific number of times. So you have to increment your variable. If you don't do that, then your loop will be an infinite loop and it will never come out. Okay, so this is very important, you have to keep in mind. So what I'm doing here, if I less than 4, okay, then this print statement will come. When I becomes 5, we'll break the loop, we'll stop the loop. Again you can see here I equal to I plus 1, we are incrementing the value, right? So let us run this loop here. So you can see here, so continuing the loop, so till it becomes I less than 4, that means till I value is 3, this particular print statement will be executed. Now I equal to 5, it breaks the loop. So print I didn't print. So let me make it 10, okay, to understand better. So I less than 10. When it reaches 5, the loop is breaking out, so you will not see the values of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This print will not work because when I becomes 5, we are breaking the loop. Okay, that is how we use continue and break statement within the loop. Next, see for loop. So for loop is used for iterating over a sequence. Now, sequence can be either it's a number, list, or a tuple, dictionary, set, or a string. Now, here for loop can be used in two ways. One is you can use it as an iterator method as we find in C sharp or in Java, where you have a list or a dictionary. You can use for loop to loop through the items, right? Or you can also use it to loop to specific number of times. Okay, so we will see that also. So what happens in a for loop? Again, you can execute a set of statements till your loop is over. So for every iteration of the loop, the statements gets executed. So to loop through a set of code a specified number of times, then we have to use range function. Now for loop in Python is little different than what we have in C++ or Java, right? Now normally there we write for int I equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. Okay, then we execute set of statements, but in Python it is little different, so we will see how. So a nested loop is a loop inside a loop. Now the inner loop will be executed one time for each iteration of the outer loop. Now what this means is in a for loop you can have further for loops, means for loops within for loops. So in that case what will happen, for every iteration the inner for loops will be executed, then again for the next iteration again the inner loops will be executed. So that is a loop within a loop. Now let's see for loop in action now. So I'm going to take out the comments. Now here what we have done is, so I'm having a list called fruits, apple, banana, cherry. Now I want to iterate through this list and see what are the fruits that are present. So all you need to do is when we execute, so you can see here apple, banana, cherry. Okay. Now suppose when I want to loop through a particular number, I want to execute the loop for a specific number of times, then you can use range. Now for x in range 6, so the default value is 0. When you talk about range, it starts with 0 and by default it automatically increments by 1. Now when you see this execute statement, what we see is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is not including 6, it is including 0. So 0 to 5, that is 6 times the loop will be executed. Now range will be used when you want to execute for specific number of times. Now what is the nested for loops? Now I have taken one more list called vegetables having onion, tomato and potato. Now what we are having is two for loops. As you can see, there is one outer for loop that is for fruits and there is an inner for loop for vegetables. Now what will happen for x in fruits, for every item in the fruit the loop will execute for vegetables. It lists all the vegetables in the vegetables list. Now if you see this output, apple is there, first item. Now apple, onion, tomato, potato. Then we have banana, again onion, tomato, potato. Then again cherry, onion, potato. and in tomato, potato. So this is called loop within a loop or a nested loop. Now coming back to the presentation. So now let's get into the interview questions. There are plenty of interview questions that can be asked on these operators, conditional statements, and the loops. Okay, so I've identified few questions so which are very important. Obviously, you go through the video and you will be able to get more and more questions out of this. Now, what does floor division operator does? So it rounds the result down to the nearest whole number. It is down, not to the highest number. It rounds off to the nearest low number, not the high number. Okay. Now I want to find the remainder of two numbers. How to do? So what you need to do is you need to use modulus operator. What does AND operator do? Now AND operator returns true when both the statements are true. If any one statement is false, the output will be false. What does OR operator do? It returns true when one or both of the statements are true. Now, if both are false, then only it returns false. How do you compare if both objects are same? So we have to use is operator to compare the objects. I want to check if an item is present in the list. What operator should be used? We have to use in operator. Now, what is the equivalent of else if in Python? It is elif. Now, how to define the blocks? So, in case of Python, it is defined using indentation. What is while loop? So, while loop is used to execute a set of statements as long as a condition is true. Now, how to break a loop? You have to use break statement. Now, I want to execute some statements and return to the beginning of the loop. So, what statement to use? Now, basically, what this question is, so you have to check a condition. If the condition meets, you want to go back to the loop and you want to skip the remaining statement. So what we will use is continue statement. Now continue will take the execution back to the loop, whereas break statement will terminate the loop. That is the main difference between continue and break. For loop can be used as an object iterator, yes or no? Yes. So for loop can be used as an object iterator. Need to execute set of statements for a number of times. How to do? So basically we have to use the range function. That's all, folks. So that's all we have for today's session. I hope you are enjoying this new series of Python programming. I am sure lot of learnings, lot of knowledge you are getting. So even though you are new to Python programming or a beginner to Python programming, do go through all these videos to understand the Python programming. So these are the fundamentals what we are talking about, and understanding these fundamentals will make you very strong going ahead with the high level programs. So I hope you are enjoying. If you do like my efforts, if you do like my uh, knowledge sharing, do like it, do share it with others so that they can also get the knowledge. Don't forget to put the comments on how I can improve these programs. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to the channel, press the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching this video. So see you soon with the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Have safe, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.